Fire in the hole!
Okay! Oh, no! Put that down there.
Why? I don't know. Before you agree with him, he's throwing you under the bus. Yeah. Might be on fire.
So Up in Smoke for me was just the best time. Everything I love about car culture, it takes me back to like when I fell in love with cars. Just getting in my car and going driving with my friends, heading here, heading there, doing some track days along the way, party in the evening, hanging out with all my friends. It's just everything that I fell in love with cars. Yeah, it's just almost like going back in time, you know, from the days when we would just be on our driveways at home, getting our cars ready, modifying them, and then just going out in the evenings and hanging out with our friends. And it just kind of felt like that, driving from location to location with all our friends and just having a really good time. So we bought a 350Z for last year's Up in Smoke tour, which we had like so much fun with. It was just a fun little project. We just spent a couple of hours, a week building up to the first Up in Smoke, getting the car ready, because we were all just excited about trying to make this little car do the best it possibly could. And throughout the trip, it was awesome. It performed well, and everything went according to plan.
She lived a well life. The weird bit that I still don't understand is it done 3,000 miles and 5 drift days. Not a single problem. Baggsy does 1 drift day, unattended, and everything breaks.
Fire in the hole!
Okay!
You ready?
No!
Are you sure?
It was a wet track that we were drifting. It was like a private event, but yeah, I think I just got the car too hot, just having too much fun. Probably got a little bit carried away, and unfortunately, that was the end of the VQ engine. She made a little knock noise.
Rattled quite a bit, so it was good for the bin.
That's done. We're just gonna put that down there. We're gonna just not talk about that again.
Yeah, so then obviously the Up in Smoke 2024 year came around, the plans started coming out and everyone was getting excited. We had dates, we had locations, but we had kind of, no car, because the 350Z that we had from previous was still sort of sitting, just sort of like almost like abandoned out the back of the workshop.
Lads, come on, the Up in Smoke tour's happening this year. We need to get the 350Z ready. We've got all these amazing parts just been delivered by Evoke 3. Sicky Manufacturing have got all the install kit ready for this LS engine to go in the 350. Billy Speed Shop deliver headers. We're ready to go. We need to get this thing running.
I always felt like the 350Z with 300 horsepower was a good car, well balanced, it drove well, it was fun to drive. I just felt if it just had like maybe another 60, another 100 horsepower, it would be like perfect. Yeah, I spoke to our partners Sicky and their distributor Evoke Performance, and yeah, we quickly started gathering parts together. We managed to get an engine from Ireland, from Bob at Motorsport 56. Yeah, sort of the idea was born. We were going to put the LS1 engine into a 350Z.
Obviously, it was quite nice to find that Sicky do the basics of the swap kit, and it's a platform which you can get in depth with. You can just buy the engine mounts, you can just buy the sump, you can just buy bits of it, or you can buy a complete swap kit. So obviously, depending on your budget and how much you want to spend or how much you want to develop and all that, it's a nice thing to know and go into. You're not having to make everything from scratch. So that was a nice start to the project.
Yeah, so the boys got the car into the workshop, got the engine out, the VQ, the dead, rattly V6 engine.
Now what?
I don't know. I think we should go to the pub.
Yeah, sounds good.
Me and Mark started the project at the start of this season, and obviously going into the season we knew that it wasn't probably going to be spend a week or two on it kind of deal. It was going to be as and when around other things. So we pulled the engine out, which came out obviously quite easy and that, and then we started to put the LS together. Obviously that came with the sump. I also had a new pickup tube, the adapter plates. We can still retain the 350Z gearbox, which obviously then, same thing again, helps on costs. It means you don't have to go buy another gearbox. You still get to keep all the standard stuff and all that. So that was quite a nice feature of the swap kit. And then yeah, we started to, get into putting the engine in the car. far as engine swaps go, it was quite a straightforward bolt in. There wasn't really anything that, that we had to make. Obviously, we had to clearance the block. We had to cut a little tab off it just for the starter motor to clear. A little bit inside the bell housing of the gearbox for the starter, obviously when that pops out and engages the ring gear.
Obviously, it's a much bigger engine than the V6. Obviously, it's got an extra 2 cylinders, V8. So yeah, some massaging, I think, of the engine bay had to happen to kind of get it to squeeze in there. We also wanted to kind of like make it a little bit easier for us to work on, so like just trying to make things, just giving ourselves a little bit more room around the engine.
It's quite a straightforward swap kit that you could do at home on your driveway, I think, if you was keen to do it and wanted to have a go yourself. The nice thing as well was that if there's any parts that we weren't sure how they went together, there's nice tutorials and manuals and guides. So
like everything when you're building a car, you assume certain things will only take an hour, 2 hours, half a day. Like everything when you're building something new, it obviously doesn't always go according to plan, and something you anticipate taking you 1 hour takes 3 hours, and something you think is going to take 2 hours takes 5 hours, and then something you think that'll only take a day takes 2 days. So eventually this sort of schedule catches up with you and you've got an event coming up. Obviously the 350Z wasn't probably the most important project that we had going on in the workshop at the time, so there was definitely weeks where we didn't get back to it. We had to kind of just leave it on the ramp or leave it in the workshop, kind of just sitting there waiting for us to find some more time. We had a busy season this year, so we just got back to the 350Z as quickly as we could, as and when we could. Obviously that didn't lead to probably telling the story as well as we could have of getting the engine in the 350Z, but we've obviously captured as much as we possibly could.
By the time I really got into it, it was probably about a week before we had to leave for Poland, but the issue was that we weren't coming back from Poland, we was going straight to Spain for Up in Smoke. So it's a week, so if I needed anything, there wasn't much time to order anything.
You just assume you've got all the bits that you need to build it, and then something crops up that you haven't got. Something turned up was wrong. It's just, anyone that's ever built a car knows, it's never normally straightforward. You've got to be very, very lucky if everything that you've anticipated you need is there, and everything you've anticipated that you think is going to work does work the first time you try and do it.
Yeah, it was a pretty hectic week and, obviously quite stressful, a few late nights, but me and Baggsy in the end got it running.
Where's your seat, mate?
We ended up going for like an hour's drive in it. We had no issues, so it speaks a lot for Sicky that it's a bolting kit. We didn't have to adjust anything. We just got it running, started.
It was what it was. We had a lot of fun doing it. It was a lot of hard work at the time, trying to get everything done in time for the Up in Smoke tour, but I think we all enjoyed doing it, and obviously the payoff was going on the trip and having an amazing time. So unfortunately, we couldn't essentially start the first couple of days of the Up in Smoke tour. The unofficial start was sort of from the UK, because obviously there's a lot of guys going on the trip that were leaving from the UK, and everybody kind of drove down through France into Spain and then stopped in Bilbao. We was at Drift Masters Poland, so we had to obviously go to Drift Masters and then fly straight from Drift Masters into Bilbao, Spain. Which meant we had to kind of find a solution to getting the 350Z down to Bilbao to meet us. So our good friend Yam at Trackworks, he took his recovery truck with the 350Z on the back and took it down to Bilbao for us. Unfortunately, on the way down, it wasn't also smooth sailing. There was some issues, I remember, at the ferry port or the train. I can't remember which way round he went now. I think maybe he went on the train. There were some issues with Yam going down on the train to get across to France. They wanted a logbook. He didn't have the logbook. We didn't assume he needed one because it's a car with number plates on it and all that stuff. So anyway, there was a bit of a hoo-ha, shall we say, about whether he could or couldn't go. Eventually they let him go onto the train to go across to France, but as he was driving to go and get on the train, there was one of them barriers that opens that lets you through. The truck kind of went to start going through and the barrier shot back down, bounced off Yam's recovery truck roof, which dented all of his roof, and then eventually found its way to the 350Z windscreen, which just like obliterated the windscreen. So that wasn't great news when we were over in Poland, that we now needed to try and find a windscreen for the 350Z. When we were going to arrive in Spain, we had to find a 350Z windscreen. But we reached out to a couple of friends that we've got over in Spain, and they managed to find us somebody that could come and actually fit a brand new windscreen in the hotel car park the day after we arrived. So I didn't get to drift it for the first time until the first track day on the Up in Smoke tour, which was in Spain.
Little squish cheeks.
I look like a hamster, don't I?
You can wear this one, but you got to wear the beak upside down.
If you want.
You can keep that one. Right. You look squished.
I am squished, but it's alright, it's cool. Alright, so here we go. The first.
Have a Sparko helmet on.
This is Sparko. It's a Sparko! Alright, so it's the first track on the Up in Smoke tour. Can't remember the name of the track, but we'll put it along the bottom. And now we're going to go out on track and test the car to see if it works. Is that everything? That's everything.
Huh? Clearance it a little bit more, so it shouldn't touch.
Oh, and Sam bashed the header a bit, so
Technical term is clearance. I didn't bash it.
You heated the header up with some heat,
yes,
and then you bashed the header.
No, I clearanced it. I used persuasive force.
You clearance the header, and now we're going to go out on track.
I think it's going to fall off. It's just.
And then, if you hold tight during this video, we're going to do a kind of like a quick walk around in the car and tell you everything we've done to it. Obviously, the main thing is we've engine swapped it, got an LS1 in it. So, yeah, that's the main upgrade from last year. Shout out Sicky, shout out Evoke Performance and Billy's Speed Shop for hooking up all the parts to get an LS into a 350Z.
Yeah, dives off down there a lot, but you can attack it because it's like real grippy, and down there is like it's got a camber, so you can flick it faster than what you think. You know what I mean? And up the back section, it's like dreamy. Right. Dreamy.
What pressure did you put in the tyres?
65, no handbrake, 0. Do not touch it. Stick.
Done your first set of tyres?
No, I can go again. That's the joys of 350. Yeah. You on the other hand.
The city is up in the madness. The people is giving the damage. They turn into animal savage. Serranos and hippos and mammoths. The hero was coming, I'm locked in. You know that I'm winning, I'm top 10. You know that I came from the dark pit. You want it, you get it, you drop dead. The rebel who came from the bottom. My enemies know that I got it. I'm planting my seeds in gardens. Then watching them sprout and harvest. The greatest was always in my plans. Battle the kid is white flags. Not on my level where I stand. Got it, I'm shooting a hot hand. Out of the gym, I was locked out. I failed, the kid was a dropout. I changed the game and it's up now. The city that need me is clear now. The people is giving the damage. The people is giving the.
I knew from driving on the road that it had more power than the 350Z originally did. It definitely feels like it's got about another 80 horsepower or something, maybe 100. Honestly speaking, that's literally what I sort of dreamt that the car needed. It just needed that extra little push so that you could select third, and you didn't have to be carrying loads of speed for it to keep drifting. You could use third gear a little bit more in tighter corners where you'd be kind of like in second on the limiter, sort of like nailing the engine a bit more. So yeah, I definitely felt like with the new engine, with that little bit extra horsepower, it just sort of transformed the 350Z and it just made it so much easier to drive. And it didn't feel like I was having to be so aggressive with it the way we kind of was driving it before to kind of get it to do what we wanted it to do now, if that makes any sense. We could essentially be a little bit nicer to the engine because it had a little bit more power, so it would do what we were looking for it to do.
Send us home. So we've got to turn around and go back.
They might be coming after you because you've got no fun like
That's you. It's you, mate. It's your car.
Oh, thanks. You're out now, are you?
I'm going in the truck. Do you want your keys back?
So I think they're just looking.
All my life been looking for it. I think I found something to help with easing the pain. I've been going through the racetrack. Spent all my money on a dog in the bag. I put my heart into it, ain't never start in the crib, no. You blame it on the recipe. Do what you want to me, 'cause I could never let it go. You toss my body out to sea, leave a rose
What happened, Jimmy?
Sam didn't warn me. He was de-lambing. I didn't know he was going to de-lamb, but he was madder than I thought. I mean, I thought I'd get slight telling off, but he's angry. So angry. This is all broken. Oh, I didn't do it. It's the state of the wheel, bro. Yam said they didn't de-lamb. He said those tyres don't de-lamb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the state of the car?
I didn't blow up the tyre.
No, he's blaming you though. So just before you agree with him, he's throwing you under the bus.
Yeah, I saw. See, Sam's.
I saw sparks and I was like, I should probably tell him, and then it blew up. Yam said they didn't de-lamb.
Do you know what those words come out of my mouth?
Those are the tyres we used at Goodwood.
Yeah. No, they're not.
What do you mean they didn't de-lamb? They delaminate on the beamer at Goodwood.
Yeah, I thought there's high flies.
They're not high flies, bro.
Oh, that's what they do. I told you the ones that weren't high flies do lamb. Oh,
Where's the jack?
It wasn't wrong. No, he just got the tyre name wrong. I'm so. It's like it never happened. Shut up. But remember the first car you ever lent me? I bent in half. We're progressing.
Yeah, you mean that was at
Arena Essex.
Arena Essex. You know, you didn't spend enough. You basically wrote it off into the wall.
So, progression. That's all I'm saying.
Admit this to me, right? You know when you heard that, you kept your foot in, didn't you?
No.
100% because the tyre does not delaminate and slap the door.
It did.
Without you going.
No, it did. Definitely did.
What do you hate?
Sorry, Baggsy.
All right, guys, so here it is. This is our 2024 Up in Smoke Tour 350Z. It's had a bunch of upgrades since we went on the tour last year. The main one being that we've swapped the engine out from the 3.5 litre V6 to a 5.7 litre LS1 V8. So just to recap on the car, we still have from last year our ST XTA coilovers. We've got our GK Tech lower and upper arms with knuckle adapters. We're running their hydro setup with their dual caliper setup on the rear. And inside the car, we've still got our Sparco seat and steering wheel with one of their fire extinguishers just underneath the seat. And for brakes, we're running the same setup as last year, EBC's brakes front and rear. We've got a dual caliper system, so we're running yellow stuff pads in the hydro and the foot brake on the back, and of course the same on the front. All we've done is just change the pads for this year's road trip. The discs are perfectly good to go again. And we run yellow stuff pads generally because they work very well from cold, and they also work very well when the brakes are hot, including no fade with the hydro or anything like that. So yeah, very happy with the EBC brakes on the 350Z. And for wheels, we've got Strom's DS35s. It's a really nice looking wheel, especially on the 350Z. And for tyres, we hit up Tyre Streets, and we've got their 651 Accelera on the front, which is a 235/40/18. And on the back, we're using a tyre that we know very well, which is their PHI in a 245/35/18. I feel that's a very good setup for, you know, a 350Z drift car. Gives me good balance on the front and some good grip on the back that lasts quite a long time. We've got a new splitter and new side skirts that we got from Tarmac Sports. A big shout out to those guys for helping us out with those. And of course, since we've done the engine conversion, we've got a brand new K&N air filter that we're going to show you now. All right, so here it is. This is our brand new LS1 V8 swap in our 350Z. The first thing you'll notice straight away in the engine bay is that the engine is much further down and much further back in the bay, and that's thanks to Sticky's new swap kit. They've managed to get the sump on the back of the engine and they get the engine mount set up so that it sits the engine as far down, as far back as possible. It really does make driving the car feel a lot better. Weight distribution obviously means that the engine obviously just is back in the engine bay, which is better for the car. In the engine bay, we've got a bunch of Samco products in here as well, from the cooling side as well as the inlet side. So thank you to Samco for coming on board and supplying all the stuff for the car. K&N's new air filter is in here as well with an inline oil filter. We've got a jet speed radiator with Mishimoto fan shroud and fans. We've got a Vibrant Performance catch tank with a bunch of their AN fittings in here as well. Hell hooked us up with a new oil cooler kit, and Forge sent out one of their power steering cooler kits. So as far as the cooling side, the car's pretty well set up, which obviously makes it a lot better to drive out here in these hot countries like Spain and Portugal. And powering all of this in the engine bay is our Yuasa YBX 7005 battery. And lastly, big shout out to Billy Speed Shop for getting us all the servicing items we needed to get the car in good condition, ready to go before we hit a 5,000 mile trip from the UK, Spain and Portugal. Okay, so that's us done. We're gonna head over to the Turn 6 event and get this thing out on track. What's that? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know, it might be on fire, could be.
On the very last day for us on the Up in Smoke tour, we had fitted a new power steering pump only like 3 or 4 days before that. So Chelsea Tanofa was really good. He was able to bring over a new power steering pump for us from Drift HQ, because the power steering pump on the LS1 was just whining a lot. It was kind of okay on the road driving it, but like when you started sort of putting a little bit of angle into the car, or sort of giving it big steering lock, it was really whining. So I didn't really have much confidence in the original power steering pump lasting the whole trip. And then, yeah, we were able to fit that in the 350Z when he arrived. So we had to go and get like a new piece of line made, which was like this little short piece of line made in Spain. And I think there was possibly a small language barrier as to how much PSI we wanted this little bit of line to hold. So I think basically it lasted, I think 3 or 4 days of us kind of drifting, and then the line failed, and then it just sprayed power steering fluid everywhere. So
Yeah, it's like crimped line. Yeah. That crimped line's blown out.
We had some laps. We're going to get the tools.
That's a bit of a
We got the films, the clips. We did a chase run.
It must be a hydraulic.
Right, this time.
We came in late. We left early.
8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock on a Saturday.
Just a bit 3 laps and then.
And we're supposed to be here at 1 a.m.
We're supposed to be here still at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can be. We just need to go find that free beer.
Fuck steak!
Oh man, why? How? Why would that stupid line give up?
Obviously, he's not rated for temperature, I guess.
But we told him, didn't we? Like,
yeah, I told him it was going to be like 12-14 bar and.
yeah. And it's not exactly like it's next to the exhaust, so it shouldn't like just give up.
but again, it was like the last couple of laps of the last track day that we were doing on the Up in Smoke, so it didn't really matter. We just put it back on Yam's recovery truck and we let it go. I'm not entirely sure what the future holds for the 350Z, if I'm honest. We need to obviously fix the power steering pump because it's come back and we haven't fixed that yet. And we need to probably just like give the car a good service and just check over a couple of little bits. But other than that, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe look for a track day this winter somewhere that we can take it and have a bit more fun with it. Or maybe we'll just put a sheet over it and just leave it in the corner of the workshop and see what next year looks like in terms of the Up in Smoke tour, and then just make a decision on if we're going to use the 350Z again on the next trip, or maybe we'll sell it and invest in something a bit better. But who knows, we'll see what happens. Peace out, mother.
You can brush my hair and touch me yes, you feel me.
Go down here into the driver's area where you can get free VIP beer whilst driving. Portugal's amazing.